Hello everyone, my name is Art Russell. Welcome to my channel. If you've watched a few of my videos, you'll know that I occasionally make use of an illustration to make a point. I'm hoping that the illustration that I share with you today will help guide you to, or at least contribute positively to, your direct recognition of your true self. Sri Ramana Maharshi awakened suddenly to his true nature at the age of 16. He would later be quoted as stating, "The I thought is the mother of the world." This is so true. So let's get into the illustration. It's very basic, but I hope that it will work. The I thought, I am. I am a person related to a young baby, infant, child, which is basically immersed in a state of hypnosis. I have a name, Bobby or Susie or Arthur, perhaps Ananda, whatever name is appropriate. I am a boy. I am a girl. These are my parents. I am a certain color. I'm a certain nationality. I'm good at this, but bad at that. I like this food. I don't like that food. These are my sensations. These are my perceptions. I live in this town. On and on and on, this chain of thoughts arise, sensations, perceptions, and there's memory. I'm now 3. I remember when I had my second birthday. And as this chain of cause and apparent effect links, the thought of being a person in the world reaches such a strong point that it seems to coagulate, all of these arisings coagulate into the belief of being a separate self in the apparent world. Subject, believing it's the person in the apparent world. Duality. This is where, or an integral part in our apparent journey as a person in the world. And it's totally at odds with the truth of our being, which is oneness, non-duality. So there we are, the person. And I don't know if you'll be able to relate to that, of thinking, oh yeah, all these beliefs, but no, that's who I really am. It's the belief for the majority of beings. In all likelihood, the perspective, or the person, which is actually just a perspective, won't be questioned until suffering arises. As long as the story of being the person is going along fairly smoothly, we just adapt and realize, oh, life has its ups and downs. Or another reason why this may be questioned is that there's some kind of an inner sense, a niggling doubt that, or feeling that there's got to be more to this than just being a body mind in the world. a deep curiosity. Now, if we begin to question the nature of this person in the world, and it's due to suffering, sometimes that will appear as, oh, dear God, why are you doing this to me? Why the God outside of us that we imagine? And why are you favoring these other beings, these other persons, but not me? And that can be, the suffering can be what leads us to a search for more peace, because the perspective of the person has been dissatisfying, as the historical Buddha termed it. It's dukkha, suffering. One day, 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year good, and maybe the next few years not so good. And this can lead us to, please, what do I have to do to have a good life? Now, the trouble with that search for spirituality or to lessen the suffering is we're usually trying to find our spiritual nature as the person. We're thinking, gee, maybe if I, yes, the person, become more spiritual, that will ease my suffering. Still, though, from the perspective as the person, as the person. I'm going to read a quote from this book entitled The Ultimate Understanding by Ramesh S. Balsekar, who awakened to his true nature at a later stage of life. I believe he'd always been interested in this, and he'd also spent time with Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. Here it is on page 192 of The Ultimate Understanding. It's under the heading, The Dream. I may believe that the whole universe is a dream, and all human beings are characters within that dream. But so long as one remains outside the dream and sees it as something seen as a separate entity, by him as a separate entity, he cannot be any nearer to liberation or self-realization. Liberation is nothing other than the liberation from this idea of a separate entity doing the seeing. I know I paused at one area here because I couldn't read his writing. This book is wonderful. It actually has passages that are in Ramesh's handwriting. It's wonderful. I'm going to read this again. I may believe that the whole universe is a dream, and all human beings are characters within that dream. But so long as one remains outside the dream and sees it as something seen by him as a separate entity, he cannot be any nearer to liberation or self-realization. Liberation is nothing other than the liberation from this idea of a separate entity doing the seeing. So he's relating that this apparently separate self in a great big world, which is the predominant viewpoint even to this day, with almost 8 billion beings believing they're persons. Liberation, self-realization, is awakening to the realization that we're not the person, as strange as that seems. Many of you who are curious about your true nature may have heard, I believe it's a Buddhist expression, but it's probably throughout all face and those who are seeking freedom probably heard that you must die before you die, or that to find yourself, you must lose yourself. And this can seem very puzzling. It's like, what do you expect me to do, perhaps? Matthew chapter 10, verse 39 points to this. Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Now, again, this can seem puzzling, and you might be asking, how do I do that? Well, one thing that I can definitely share is that you don't do it as the person. Now, a lot of people will, or beings will meditate for years, and they sometimes perhaps believe that if they meditate long enough or visit enough ashrams or cathedrals or make themselves look holy, that this amazing realization will occur to the person. And I'm here to share that no person ever becomes awakened. Awakening means to awaken from the dream of personhood, in fact. Now, I mentioned that you don't do this as the person. Psalm 46:10 points to the way, if you're curious. And I'll demonstrate that in this illustration about the chain. Psalm chapter 46, verse 10 states, "Be still and know that I am God." This pointing is related in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added to you." Now here's the illustration. We, believing that we're the person, if we become still, perhaps we can find that one link to our true nature by going within, into the stillness of meditation, and where this can happen. And there's this detachment from the perspective of the person. Now, it's not something that we do mentally. Stating or thinking, I'm not the person, I'm not the person, I'm not the person, doesn't get you there. When we go into the stillness of meditation, we still the mind becomes still. There's this sometimes surprising realization that I'm aware. I am aware of sensations, starting and stopping while we're sitting on the cushion. I am aware of images going across the mind. I am aware of feelings arising and then passing. I am aware of thoughts. I wonder what's for dinner. The thought passes. What is it that's aware? Can't be the person. I thought sensations and images and history and beliefs and thoughts made up the person. I am aware of all of those. So I hope this is at least offering something that may point you in the right direction. I'm going to read a quote from I Am That, which I hope will also contribute positively. I discovered this book in 2019. and it has been more than worth. This is my second copy. The first one ended up leaving at my other apartment with a lot of other things, and that's fine. So I had to treat myself to a new copy. Page 171. Now, this book chronicles talks between Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was sometimes apparently referred to as the fiery sage of Bombay. Sounds like my kind of guy. I would have, so incredible. Anyway, and seekers who sought his company, went to satsang to receive pointings that might lead to direct realization of their true nature. The questioner asks, what dies with death? And Maharaj replied, the idea, I am this body, dies. The witness does not. That first link. The idea that led to the formation of the belief that I am the body-mind. Both the body and the mind are witnessed. They're known. The fact that they can be perceived, as stated by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj in the early pages of this book, the very act of perceiving shows that you are not what you perceive. What is the source of knowing? It knows the contents of the finite mind and the body. I'm also going to read a quote from Illusion versus Reality by Sri Ranjit Maharaj. This is on page 5. As you can see, I do make use of that highlighter in all of the readings of this important content. Now, I don't mean to get lost in the information. We don't just want to be the person accumulating all this yada, 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 or, yeah, I went to this ashram, I went to that, I've read 1,000 books. That's not the point. We want to dive deeper and see what the information is pointing to. And then realization, self-realization. No one can do it for you. This is your apparent journey. Here's the passage. Nobody comes, nobody goes. All is a dream. In a dream, you can become a great master, but when you wake up, you come back to your ordinary state. Who has gone there and who has come back? Nothing has happened. All is a dream. Happenings occur in nighttime dreams also. Now you might be saying, yeah, Art, but that's fine and dandy, but I'm in the real world here. It's real solid. I'm a solid person. I don't want to be delusional and pretend I'm a spirit. What I'm stating is that all those objects and events and circumstances that appeared in nighttime dreams, the same is happening right now. This is occurring because my spirit, my essence, wants to help awaken or make offerings that will help awaken beings from the suffering that's associated with the belief in being the person. About the nature of our world, I'd like to offer a quote from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 3. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. These are mind-made things. Now, I've shared this point before from a contemporary, actually, or someone that's in our current times here, Steve Harvey. And you might think this is an unlikely man or being to share these points, but Steve Harvey's character went through great suffering years ago. He lived out of his car for 3 years, I believe. And now that his character in the story has become very successful, he's been doing his best to share information about our true nature. He does this in warm-up sessions of some of the shows that he is involved with. And I remember hearing him once say, "You don't get yourself up in the morning, God gets you up." So true. The waking state has arisen, and then the character, Art, in my case, this case, walks and talks in the apparent world. Now, this is similar to what is stated in Acts chapter 17, verse 28. For in him we live and move and have our being. In him. Consciousness. I'm going to end this video soon for today, but it's been a pleasure to share with you. What I'd like to do, though, before leaving, is read a passage from Wisdom by Lester, which was written by Lester Levinson. I believe it was in 1952, at the age of 42. Lester had been very successful in business and in his education, but he had a lot of health issues, and it was in 1952 that he had his second heart attack, and this one was a major one. You can see his story online and videos. But he ended up doing some deep soul searching, because the news from the doctor was basically that he might have 2 months to live or 2 years. It was very hard to say. And Lester, the character, was very, very angry at this, thought, how could life be so unfair? And he ended up going deep within himself. And as he discovered more of his true nature, he started to regain his health. And till it was finally regained totally. And not by miraculous operations or anything like that, through a change in the way he perceived himself in the world. He realized his true nature and then went on to lecture and write books, helping other beings awaken to their true nature. Here's the passage from Wisdom by Lester. The world as a dream. The world as you now see it is really a production of your imagination. And when you see the truth, the world turns out to be a dream, a fiction created in your mind. First, you will see it as a dream. Then you will see it as a dream that never really was. In fact, you will experience it exactly as you do a night dream. While you are in the night dream, you have a body. There are other bodies, there is action, interaction, there is good and there is bad. And so long as you remain in that night dream, everything there seems real to you. But when you awaken from the night dream, you say, my gosh, it was just a dream. It never really happened. It was all a dream. This is exactly the same manner in which you will awaken from this dream called the waking state. Be still and know I am God. Anyway, I hope this video has given you some points to contemplate at a little deeper level. I love all of you. If you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to like, share, or subscribe. I'm looking forward to talking with you again soon. Bye for now.